So Dominic Williams, the founder of Dfinity, has confirmed something yet again. He recently made a post talking about their upcoming DEX, which is multi-DEX, and he confirmed a couple things, but I think the two main points I want to focus on is he says it's going to be 100% on-chain, and he says it's going to be multi-chain, so multiple chains. I'll explain the importance of this in my perspective, at least hypothetically speaking, and I'll discuss the price briefly later. But I just want to say this is just my opinion, perspective, mindset. I am not telling anyone to do anything, and nothing I say is financial advice. So if we take a look at Dominic Williams saying that, right? Saying how multi-DEX is going to be 100% on-chain and then also multi-chain, we got to break this down a little bit. So let's just take a look at the first part. He says 100% on-chain. So it literally means that everything is going to be on the chain, right? The reason why this could matter is, first of all, for transparency, which really matters when it comes to this space, especially because a lot of people care about decentralization. And then also on top of that, it's going to bring quite amazing auditability. So it's going to be very easy to audit something. Now, why would that be a good thing? Well, it matters when it comes to this space because sometimes, we take a look at some other projects out there. We don't really know about what's really going on. But again, if something is easy to audit, something is easy to kind of look at, then it just becomes much easier. It's much more convenient. Not only that, right? It could hypothetically have amazing security as a result of being 100% on-chain. Now, this is a very fantastic advantage of multi-DEX, maybe just because some other DEXs out there, some people would arguably say they are not 100% on-chain. So again, if multi-DEX could actually really be 100% on-chain, in which Dominic Williams really said that not too long ago, that would be pretty awesome. And also, I think that when it comes to being 100% on-chain, it showcases that the internet computer can fundamentally support that in a sense where some other projects out there, what they have in terms of their blockchain, it just can't really support things being 100% on-chain. The reason why is because in some instances that could require a lot of computational demand, and quite simply put, some of them are just not fully equipped to handle that from the get-go. Like some of them are just not necessarily built for that. When it comes to multi-DEX, from the ground up, it was already designed to apparently be 100% on-chain and also multi-chain. So we gotta let that sink in. This is the type of stuff that Dfinity is doing. Other projects out there, they're going to try to pivot later, but they're trying to do it from the ground up right now. Granted, launching a DEX, especially in 2026, if they do ever even launch it this year, I'm just saying, it might not be the best time, some people might say, but it doesn't really matter to, I guess, me anyways, just because the sooner they launch it, I think the better it is. Because the reason why I say that is due to the fact that the sooner they launch it, the more they're going to find some hypothetical issues if it were to arise and anything that they want to fix really, which is much better than launching later if, let's say, the market were to really recover in a fantastic way, just because if it launches right now, it gives them time to fix it. So then once, hypothetical mass adoption, if it were to even enter, does come, in a pure hypothetical, it's going to be better prepared to handle that. That's the thing. Now, with that being said, let's discuss the second aspect of what Dominic Williams mentioned about multi-DEX. Now, he did say that it's going to be multi-chain. Now, being multi-chain, or should I say multiple chains, that's of course going to be a lot better when it comes to adoption, right? Because some other DEXs out there, we see them very fixated on just one particular chain. They don't want to be multi-chain, so to speak. And that greatly hinders the adoption and popularity because not every single person is going to want to only use their computer. Not every single person out there is only going to want to use Solana or Ethereum or whatever. Like people sometimes just want multiple chains. Not every single person is only going to want to use one thing. So of course, by being multi-chain, it's just going to be much more advantageous for some of those DEXs out there. And I think Dfinity is learning from the mistakes of some other previous DEXs that appeared, and they're saying being just fixated on one chain, that's actually not so good. And they're probably saying to themselves, we got to make it multi-chain, and apparently Dominic Williams did confirm that it's going to be multi-chain. Probably hence why the name of multi-dex is multi-dex, because again, multi-chain, multi-dex kind of makes sense, right? Maybe hypothetically, who knows? I'm just guessing, but I'm just saying, kind of makes sense the more I think about it, I guess, in that way. But yeah, when it comes to their computer, still at around $2. Not really much to talk about there. Still around 4.5 times lower than $9. $9 was what it achieved back in November last year. Again, not really much to talk about there. Even with the around 4% recovery in the past 24 hours, it's still quite hypothetically low, but if anything more were to happen when it comes to the price, I'll of course definitely make a video on it. But you know what, right? When it comes to the internet computer, the journey seems hypothetically quite far, maybe. If we take a look at 2024, it achieved almost $19. We're still around 9 times away from that. Now, people like to tell me, well, the journey back there is not that impressive. Well, why not? I don't get it. Again, this is just kind of my perspective, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but we're at around $2. $19, we're around 9 times away from that. Bitcoin, it's not 9 times away from its all-time high. Ethereum is not 9 times away from its all-time high. Neither is Solana, neither is BNB. So if they were to return to their all-time high, which isn't even a 9 times journey, that's considered so impressive. But suddenly, the internet computer going to its peak in 2024 is considered really bad. How does that make sense? It's around 9 times away. And even if we take a look at it historically, like $19 isn't even the all-time high when it comes to this either. So it's not like $19 was the most impressive thing ever. Not necessarily. And okay, I don't want to take a look at it that far, let's say. Even going back to $9, which we saw, again, like I mentioned before, in November of last year, we're 4.5 times away from that. Bitcoin isn't even 4.5 times away from its all-time high. And $9 is most definitely not the all-time high when it comes to the internet computer, yet the journey is around 4.5 times back to there. Could it do that though? I don't know. We'll wait and see. Who knows at this point? It's a pure hypothetical. We'll wait and see. But it just kind of showcases that $9 isn't even this high bar to begin with. It was actually quite a bad time for the internet computer. And yet we're still so low compared to that. So that's just some kind of food for thought that I think about at times when it comes to this. However, when I take a look at it as well, people like to tell me, well, Dfinity, them launching a DEX, like in the case of multi-DEX, why does that even matter? They say there's too many DEXs out there. That is true, but Dfinity, that's not their only focus, right? If their only focus is a DEX, then okay, maybe it's going to be a little bit tough, but they're focused on AI, they're focused on the cloud market, they're also focused on a DEX and all this. So it's not their only thing. It's like, for instance, Berkshire Hathaway. Are they only focused on shoes? No. It's one of the components. Like, we take a look at Berkshire Hathaway owning Brooks, the shoe company, but it's not the only thing. They also have other aspects too. Like, let's say in the case of Berkshire Hathaway, believing in Apple, Coca-Cola, and all this. They also care about the insurance industry. So again, they have multiple layers. It's not the only thing that they care about. Much in the case of Dfinity, multi-dex is not going to be the only thing that they care about. So it's just adding another layer, basically. And again, apparently, when it comes to that, Dominic Williams recently confirmed it's going to be 100% on-chain and also multi-chain. So I did like seeing that. But yeah, I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward, though, when it comes to this. I did like the slight recovery that I saw recently, even though it's not too much in the grand scheme of things, but I did like seeing that. So yeah, I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward. I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very wonderful and spectacular day.